Hi, my name is Caroline, and from the day I was born, Mom has thought of me as a nuisance. No matter how hard I try to please her, I just always end up doing the wrong thing. You see, I was always clumsy, and I'd been causing minor disasters around the house even since I was born. Like one time when I was 2 years old, I climbed onto the bookshelf to take down a book and somehow managed to bring the whole thing down. Mom and Dad were freaked. They fired my nanny then, and since Dad was always away, Mom had to quit her job to look after me full time. I think that's when she started hating me. She thought everything I ever did was wrong. On my 6th birthday, she said to her friends, "She's so annoying that she chose to come out in the middle of my pedicure. I had to go to the hospital with half my nails painted. Can you imagine? So annoying." I was so embarrassed that I tried to run out of the room, only to run smack into my cake. I sat in a pile of cake and felt so embarrassed, and Mom looked so annoyed that I did the stupidest thing on the planet. I ate a fistful of cake and said, "Yum, chocolate." Everyone just laughed harder, and someone said I was an idiot. Turns out, it was Mom. Later that night, I heard Mom on the phone with her friend, and she was crying like a baby. I just missed the good old days. I had a life. I felt so bad. I decided to surprise her with something awesome. I took a screwdriver and ran to the garage. I started to draw with it on the car. I made a whole scene with me and Mom in our house. She was gonna love it. I excitedly nudged her awake from her nap and led her to the garage. But I was so shocked when she went totally ballistic on me. "You're so dumb, Caroline! Your birthdays for the next 5 years are canceled!" And it doesn't get any better from here. You see, I grew up really insecure about my looks around Mom. She was beautiful herself, and her snarky comments always made me feel ugly. She'd say things like, "Your nose is just like your father's mother's," or "You really can't pull off that pink color," or "Do you really need to eat chocolate?" But one time, when I was in the 7th grade, she had some friends over, and I heard her say it loud and clear. "I just wish my daughter was beautiful like me." I ran off to my room and stared at myself in the mirror. The only thing I had in common with her was my long black hair. I decided I would never cut it, but Mom was right. I was ugly. I was so upset with my reflection that I threw a shoe at the mirror, and it broke. Mom heard the noise and came running to my room. "What'd you do now? Clean that up." The next few years went by like that. Dad was a constant no-show most of the time. He sent money and gifts to make up for it, though, and Mom insisted I needed to be a different person, while I had found a brilliant new hobby. You see, the day before my 16th birthday, I had found a gorgeous old set of sculpting tools in the attic. I didn't even bother asking Mom whose they were because I was afraid she might make me throw them out. Just then, Mom knocked on the door. She said she'd bought me a dress to wear on my birthday the next day, but to no one's surprise, it turned out to be the wrong size. I tried really hard to fit into it, but I just couldn't. "Why did you buy me such a small dress, Mom?" "To push you to eat fewer cookies and more veggies. The way you're eating, you're never gonna fit into anything nice." "But Mom, clothes are supposed to fit you. You aren't supposed to fit them. If you'd gotten me the right size, I would have looked just fine." "Just fine isn't the same as beautiful, Caroline. That's chubby girl talk." I was so angry with her and disappointed that I had nothing nice to wear, so I just canceled my birthday party and shut myself up in my room, blasting away loud music and doodling furiously in my art pad. A few hours later, I heard a knock at the door. Mom banged on the door saying Dad's gifts were here. After she left, I opened the door and pulled my gift inside. To my surprise, it was a fancy new set of sculpting tools and clay. He'd remembered. Over the next few weeks, I ended up turning my room into my studio. I started sculpting every day. I started to get obsessed. Cars, people, horses, toy, everything. I even started doing it at school. One day, as I was rushing from class to the art room, I bumped into someone and all the miniature sculptures in my bag fell out and scattered everywhere. "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." "No, it's okay. Just help me." I looked up and saw the school's basketball captain, Ron. I'd had a crush on him for a while, but he didn't even know I existed. And now he was helping me pick up my scattered miniatures. Suddenly, Ron looked at my work and let out a whistle. "Don't tell me you made these. They're brilliant." I'm pretty sure I'm very capable of making something brilliant, Ron.
Of course. I meant you're really good. My aunt's a sculptor, and I just know she'd love your work.
Then he invited me to his home after school. I could not believe my ears. Ron's aunt was crazy talented, and she did seem really impressed with my work. Before I knew it, we had become friends. Not just us, but Ron too. I started hanging out more and more often at his place and sculpting in his aunt's studio. Before I knew it, we had become great friends, and my crush was back. One day while I was at Ron's place, his aunt showed me a poster of the sculpting contest. And wow! The prize was a scholarship to study art at the university. Ron said,
"If anyone can win it, it's you."
The way he said it gave me butterflies, and I decided I'd give it my best. I came back home thrilled, and I told my mom about my project, but Mom was anything but impressed.
A sculptor? I was hoping you'd become a doctor, a lawyer, or something that won't make you starve. Actually, on second thoughts, maybe that's not such a bad thing.
I tried to not let her get to me, but she made me so mad. I shut myself up for the weekend and sculpted with such passion that I dirtied the floor and sent clay water splattering onto the walls. I wouldn't even go down to eat with her. I just ordered pizzas and had the delivery boy hand them to me through my window. A few days later, as I was leaving for school, she barged in and was beyond furious. She completely ignored my beautiful pieces and only looked around at the mess with crazy eyes. "What are you, a cave woman?
You're not going anywhere till you clean this garbage dump."
"I'll clean it up, Mom. But why do you always see the ugly side of everything? Don't you have anything nice to say about my art? I couldn't care less about your stupid art." And with that, she walked away. I was so furious, I decided to do the only thing I knew would really get to her. I decided to cut all my long black hair and dye it. It was the only thing my mother and I had that was similar, and now I was different. When she saw me with bright blue short hair, she dropped the plate she was holding and simply said,
"Ah, completely ugly now."
I started spending as much time away from home, returning late and not answering my mom's calls. I spent most of my time at Ron's house working on my sculpture of Grace O'Malley, a fierce Irish pirate. She was such an iconic woman. One day when I returned home, I couldn't find my sculpture anywhere. So I asked Mom, and she casually said, "Your room looked like a dump." So I threw away everything. "You what? Mom, I spent weeks on it. The competition is just 4 days away."
"I told you to clean up your mess. I couldn't tell the art from the trash."
I was horrified and did the only thing that made sense. I turned around and ran out of my home. That night it was freezing outside and I didn't know where to go. I started crying, sitting on the street. Suddenly a car approached me. It was Ron. He said, since I hadn't shown up at his place when I was supposed to, he thought I might be in trouble. When I told him I'd left my house, he said I could stay at his place as long as I wanted. The next 3 days were crazy. I skipped school and worked on my sculpture all day long. I blocked Mom's number because she wouldn't stop calling to yell at me. But the day before the art contest, someone knocked at Ron's door. It was Dad. He wanted me to go home to Mom. "Are you coming?"
"No, honey. I have to catch a flight in 30 minutes. Now, hurry up."
"Forget it, Dad. I'm tired of how you and Mom have been. You're literally never there in my life. And Mom just hates me so much. I'm not going back to her."
"She doesn't hate you. She loves you."
"Yeah, of course. Now go, Dad. I don't need you either. I have other friends who can be there for me when I need it." With that, I slammed the door in his face. On the day of the art contest, I was very anxious. I tried to look around and find some familiar faces, but none were there for me. I looked at other people's art pieces, and I suddenly felt they were all better than mine. I wanted to go away. I took my small little statue and ran out of the exhibition crying. But at the door, I found Dad. He took one look at me and smiled. "You came? How?"
"No one else gets to be my daughter's best friend and biggest support. Now tell me, you weren't running away, were you?"
"My work is really bad, Dad. It's not good."
"Why don't you let the judges decide?"
He led me back inside, and long story short, 2 hours later, I walked out with the first prize, 100% scholarship to my dream university. Just as I was about to leave the gallery, I saw something that surprised me. Mom was walking away from the far end of the crowd. I couldn't believe she'd come to see me tank, and now that I'd done well, she was just walking away? Well, she could do whatever. I was going to start college anyway. I started art school and started dating Ron. who asked me to be his girlfriend the day we graduated high school. After I finished college, Ron and I decided to buy a small gallery for me. I found a gorgeous little place, and the very first day, we found a lovely little sculpture tucked away in its storage. The real shocker, though, was that it looked very familiar. The gallery owner said, "Oh, it's just been collecting dust for 20 years. The artist was not very successful. Then she stopped working when she had a kid. This was her last piece. She called it Baby Caroline." I was stunned for a second when I realized why it was so familiar. The baby was wearing a necklace exactly like mine. My mom made this. I told the owner I was keeping it and wrapped it up. On Christmas that year, I took the sculpture and decided to see Mom. As soon as she saw it, she burst into tears and said, "I'm so sorry. I'm a horrible mother, aren't I?" She said she'd gotten jealous when she saw me sculpt. "I gave up my career for you, and you were so good. I got so upset. I'm so sorry." As angry and hurt as I was, I knew that Mom had given up a lot for me, so I hugged her and showed her my second gift, the old sculpting tools I'd found in the attic years ago. She cried as she held them. They were hers. Well, now the two of us often sculpt together in my studio, except we have a third edition, my little girl Maria. Hi, I'm Victoria from Slovakia. And this is the story of how my dumb family could never stand that I was smarter than all of them, and they did everything they could to ruin my life. But before I continue, click like and subscribe. It all started when I was a baby. I have a twin brother, Mark, and even though I came into the world 5 minutes after he did, I was always miles ahead of him. By the time he'd learned to roll over, I was crawling everywhere. He was just making spit bubbles when I spoke my first words. But for some reason, Mom and Dad were so proud of everything he did, and I just seemed to get on their nerves. Once, when we were playing with our toys, Mark picked up a mini train excitedly.
"Look, Dada, it's a choo-choo."
"It's not a choo-choo, Mark. It's a train."
Oh, be quiet. He's so cute when he talks like that. I don't know why you speak like an annoying teenager already.
On our 4th birthday, I only got stupid dolls, while my brother got a super cool toy airplane. He just ripped the box open and started pushing the buttons like a maniac. I picked up the manual and read the instructions. I felt fascinated by how it worked.
"Here, Mark, let me give it a try."
No, you leave it to the boys.
Even my dad couldn't get it to work.
This is garbage.
And with that, he tossed it aside. I quietly picked up the airplane, and a few seconds later, everyone looked up in shock as it zoomed over their heads. Mark started to cry, and Dad snatched the remote control from me and told me to teach my bratty brother. But after I did, he would never let me have a turn. I would just sneak into his room at night and take it whenever I wanted. Once when we were in the 4th grade, my brother and I were playing Scrabble and my parents joined in. What I thought would be a fun family game night turned out to be a nightmare. I get 54 points for Sphinx.
That's not even a word. You're just making stuff up.
No, I'm not. It's an imaginary creature.
So it's not real. Ha! I knew it. Cheater.
Just because you don't know something doesn't mean it's not true. Suddenly, Dad lost his temper and knocked the board off of the table.
You think you're smarter than all of us, huh?
I never said that, but maybe I read more books than you guys.
So that's the problem. Well, here's an easy solution. No more books for you.
To my horror, he marched straight up to my room, took away all my books, and put them in his safe. If they thought that was going to stop me from reading, they were so wrong. I'd sneak books into my school bag from the library and read them at night when everyone was asleep. When I was in the 10th grade, I was going upstairs one day when a book fell out of my bag. Before I could pick it up, Mark was already flipping through the pages.
This isn't one of our course books. Mom, Dad, look what Victoria has.
And seconds later, I had my parents breathing down my neck.
Why are you reading this book? What does it have to do with you?
I just really like reading about machines and how they work. I even fixed the kitchen clock that hasn't been working since forever.
That was you? Why didn't you tell me, idiot? I've been terrified thinking it's some ghost messing with the time. I didn't send you to school to be some mechanic, and this kind of stuff is for boys.
And with that, he ripped the book in half. Dad, that's a library book.
Well, oops. And you better come and watch TV with us. You have to start acting like you're part of this family.
They forced me to watch dumb shows with them all evening, when all I wanted to do was go work on my secret project. You see, about a month ago, I'd entered the science fair, and I'd been secretly working on an amazing robot arm. On the day of the fair, I woke up extra early, snuck out of the house with my project, and put it in my locker. When the science teacher called me to set up my table at the fair, I couldn't help grinning at Mark's surprised face. As the judges and other students gathered around my table, I announced, "This solar-powered robot arm can play catch with you, chop up vegetables, and even write with a pen. Exhibit A." Everyone gasped as the arm started chopping up carrots at warp speed. And then suddenly, something went very, very wrong. The arm started making some strange sputtering noises, and the next thing I knew, it flung the knife towards the crowd, missing one of the judges by an inch. As the horrified crowd started to scatter, I burst into tears. I couldn't understand how this had happened until I spotted Mark's ugly face smiling in the crowd. Of course he tampered with it. I didn't win anything, and to make things worse, I was called into the principal's office. I gulped when I walked in to see the judge who almost got hurt, but he actually smiled at me.
"Victoria, we obviously couldn't give you a prize because your robot failed, but I was still very impressed, and your teachers speak very highly of you. Would you like to join the program for gifted kids at my college?"
College? I couldn't believe it.
"Why don't you come spend a day on campus? Bring your parents along."
I agreed to the college tour immediately, and I was foolish enough to think that for once my parents might be proud of me. As I went downstairs that evening to talk to them, I was met with roars of laughter.
You should have seen it, guys. It was so funny when the arm went haywire. She almost hit someone.
I wish you could have caught it on camera. Gosh, what was she thinking?
Maybe she wants to build a robot arm one day because she's too ugly to get a real boyfriend.
I turned angrily and went back to my room. I wasn't telling them anything about the college. The next day, I gave the principal the permission slip I'd signed myself and left for the college tour. I had an amazing time touring the campus. Later in the cafeteria, I bumped into someone, and when I turned to apologize, I saw the cutest boy smiling down at me.
"Hey, let me help you with that. I'm Luke, by the way."
Luke was really sweet, and we struck up a conversation immediately over lunch. I didn't even notice how quickly the time had passed. When I was leaving, he said,
"I know we just met, but I'd love to keep in touch. It's hard to find people you can talk to easily."
I knew exactly what that felt like. I was on cloud 9, but I fell back pretty hard on earth as soon as I got to school. Waiting at the gate were the principal and my parents, and they looked livid.
"You forged my signature?"
"Dad, let me explain.
Where were you all day?"
"I've been offered a full scholarship at an amazing college."
"College? What kind of college would want a stupid schoolgirl?"
"Sir, your daughter is very smart, and you can visit the college."
"I'll be doing nothing of the sort. That's because she's not going. And I want you to stop telling her she's better than the rest of us, or I'll sue you."
As furious as I was, I knew there was no point in arguing with these guys. I would just have to wait a couple of years to get out of here. They couldn't take everything away from me, I thought. I called up Luke and we started seeing each other. As we grew closer, I opened up to him about my crazy family and how my achievements bother them.
"That's really unfair. You have a college scholarship waiting for you. Don't let their insecurities hold you back, Vic."
His words made me realize that I didn't need to feel bad for being smart or having big dreams. Luke helped me set up a tutoring gig on the side, and I started making money. A couple of months later, he asked me to move out and come live with him, and I said yes. We decided to break the news to them together. To my surprise, they looked rather pleased to see Luke.
"Oh, wow. I was pretty sure by now she was gay." "Yeah, she thinks she's so smart she doesn't even need a man."
Luke immediately took my hand.
"She doesn't need a man, sir. I'm lucky that someone as smart and lovely as her chose me."
"I just wanted to tell you all that I'm moving out, and I'm going to college next week." At first, they looked shocked. Then Dad started laughing.
"Oh, now I get why she's with you. You do need a man to pay the bills."
"I'm on full scholarship, Dad, and I have plenty of savings."
"Oh, is that so? Well, I'm pretty sure you'll come crying back soon enough. You've always thought you were something special, but you're not, and you never will be."
Maybe you're right, Dad. Maybe I'm not special, but I'm smart and hardworking, and I love to learn. And now that I won't have you putting me down, I can be anything I want. And with that, I walked out with Luke. I was going to put my family behind me for good. On the first day of college, when someone came and sat next to me in class, I looked up and nearly fell off my seat. Mark, what are you doing here?
Oh, I go to this college now. Dad pulled some strings to get me in here. He says that if you're smart enough to go to college, so am I.
Just seeing Mark every day was ruining my college experience, but I knew I didn't have to worry about it for too long. He was nowhere near smart enough to keep up with college studies, and after flunking for 2 semesters straight, he finally left. I graduated college with honors, and on the same day, Luke proposed to me. I called Mom a few days later to invite my family to the wedding.
Oh, did you say the date is May 15th? Oh, sorry, no, we can't make it. Marky is getting married on the same day.
What? To whom?
Oh, I don't know yet, but we'll be very busy. So good luck with your wedding.
I couldn't believe she just decided to have Mark's wedding on the same day as mine. The moment I told her the news, Mom is horrible. My wedding day was the happiest day of my life, and it was probably because my family wasn't there. A week later, I had a job interview at my dream company, and I was really nervous. As I paced the hallway, I was shocked to see Dad come out of the office. What are you doing here?
Same as you. I'm here for the job interview.
But you're not an engineer.
So what? I'm a good actor.
Just then, the door opened again, and I was called in for my turn. As I walked in, Dad yelled behind me.
I raised her, and I can tell you, she's not very smart. She won't be any good for this job.
Everyone in the room looked rather shocked. I felt so humiliated, but I managed to collect myself, and I aced the interview. I was immediately offered the job. A year later, we welcomed a beautiful baby girl, Maddie, and we decided that we needed a bigger place. We started going to open houses, and I fell in love with a beautiful Victorian cottage. When we approached the realtor, she said, "Oh, don't get too attached to this place. Another family's already made an offer on it." I turned around to see that it was my family she was pointing to. Unbelievable! I'll match any offer they make, and I'll personally talk to the homeowner about how much it would mean for us to live here. After speaking with the owner, I made an offer. As expected, my parents went up even higher. I didn't want to get into a bidding war, and I let them have it. Luke and I walked by the house a day after they'd moved in. The minute the trio spotted us, they all came running out.
Guys, come in. Don't you want to see our lovely new home?
Thanks, Dad, but I'd rather not. Not after the stories I've heard about it.
What do you mean?
Oh, I spoke with the owner, and she told me that 10 years ago, a tenant mysteriously died in this house, and nobody stays here too long ever since, because strange things keep happening. That's why she decided to finally sell it. Such an honest old lady. And with that, we walked away. My family was truly terrified of one thing. It was ghosts. Luke and I found another lovely home as far away from them as possible. And we're raising Maddie there to do anything she wants, from playing in the dirt to making dollhouses. And nothing would make me happier if she's smarter than me.